Welcome to SF Commercial Property Conversations with Bruce Bean, where Bay Area investments meet expert insights. Get ready to unlock the strategies of commercial real estate success.
So today we have Greg Aguirre with us, and Greg is with the Capital Rivers Group. Actually, he is in charge of the Capital River Group. So Greg, it's great to have you. You are in the Sacramento area, and you have kind of grown up and stayed in the Sacramento area.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to the conversation. And I started Capital Rivers Commercial about 11 years ago and grew up here in Sacramento and left for about a year, but that was about it, and stayed here and have.
Where'd you go for 1 year?
Southern Oregon.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Which we probably don't have time to get into that story, but that's kind of what led me into the commercial real estate and development business.
How so? That's interesting.
I worked for a guy that owned a resort up there over the summer out of high school. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and it turned out he was a developer, and he was developing in Ashland, Oregon. So he did like the Ashland Springs Hotel and some other projects, and he really liked me, and I just kind of did odd jobs for him and helped out because he had some different properties, and I was like, yeah, I kind of want to do that. But I didn't want to live in Ashland anymore, so I came back to Sacramento.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I mean, Ashland's a fun town to visit, but I'm not sure I'd want to live there, right?
Well, not in my early 20s. Maybe now. I mean, it's kind of a hippie, quiet town. So now that I'm a little bit older, that actually sounds kind of nice. But when I was younger, it wasn't a lot going on, and I wasn't per se a hippie, so I didn't quite fit into that vibe. But it's a beautiful place.
Oh yeah, no, it's a fun place to visit for sure. So you came back to Sacramento. You went to Sacramento State, and what did you graduate in?
So I got my business degree with an emphasis in real estate and urban land use. And actually prior to that, I went to community college at American River, and then also got my real estate license while I was in college, and was selling some homes at the only place that would take me part-time, which was Century 21. And then realized I hated selling homes, even though I made more money than my friends, so I had good beer money through that, but I ended up selling 4.5 acres of dirt to a home builder here in Sacramento, and I loved that process. And it was all off market, and I wanted to do more of that. So I started trying to find these little infill lots around town, sending letters and knocking on doors, and then met a developer here who had a little home building company, and negotiated a deal with him on a monthly draw. But I never had to, if he fired me, I never had to pay it back because I didn't want to be indebted to anybody. And I'd go find these little 2 5-acre lots, and he'd buy them and build homes on them. And so that's what I did when I was in college.
Oh, wow.
That got me started.
Then how did you jump from there to doing your own developments?
So yeah, it took a little bit longer because I started on kind of the corporate path. So I graduated college, and then while I was in college, I did an internship at Centex Homes and wanted to get into the home building business. So I got a job as a land acquisition person at Richmond American Homes here in Sacramento, and they put me through some great training. But that was kind of in the mid 2000s. And so, as I was coming on board, the market was shifting, and was realizing that the company wasn't approving any new deals because none of them penciled, and the absorption rates were slowing down. And so I kind of saw the writing on the wall, got some great experience in that short stint. But then I quit before they closed the office, and got hired on at a company called Armstrong Development, who was opening an office here in Sacramento. They're the preferred developer for CVS Pharmacy. And so they brought CVS to California. And so that was kind of when I got into the commercial side and started out just doing, site tour binders and kind of more administrative, lower level tasks, letters of intent, that sort of thing. And then just really pushed into the acquisitions, entitlements, construction management side, which was great. And it's a great experience. Then Long's Drugs was acquired by CVS Pharmacies, so they got a big foothold in California. And so then CVS kind of slowed down a little bit as they were converting those. And I had the opportunity to jump over to JP Morgan Chase and their real estate department and opened new branches for them. And then also at the time, this was kind of during the banking crisis, they'd acquired Washington Mutual from the FDIC when they went defunct. And so we were converting a lot of those, figuring out which ones to accept and reject. And so I was involved in that, which was a great experience. Very, very corporate. It was a great experience, but I didn't want to be there forever. And so then the banking regulations kind of shifted and they slowed their growth and focused more on high net worth areas and slower growth. And so then I went over to a company called Sleep Train, which was the largest mattress retailer on the West Coast. And worked for Dale Carlson, the CEO. Ran their real estate department. At the time, they had about 150 stores. And I was there to help grow their store count. So we got up to about 315 through just opening new locations. We did a couple of ground up deals, which was new for the company, and then through M&A. And so I did that for a few years until they sold to Mattress Firm. And then I knew that I didn't want to work for Mattress Firm. So I quit and started this company. So that was about 11 years ago.
And what was your first project that you worked on with your new company?
Yeah, so the first project was a Buffalo Wild Wings and Chili's and IHOP here in Sacramento.
Oh, wow.
But I was pretty freaked out because we were buying a new house. My wife was pregnant and I'd quit my job and I didn't tell my wife at the time. It was an emotional decision at this is a story for another time too, at a company retreat, which was like getting the two companies together, and it was like in Arizona, and I quit in the middle of it and I was stuck there. And and so for the first year I was working with a friend of mine and kind of mentor, whose dad was a big developer and he had done some development. So they were my equity. But it took 2 years before I made any money, and I applied for multiple jobs, was kind of freaking out. I almost took a job at the SMUD, which is our local utility company, in their real estate department.
Oh, wow.
Which thank goodness I did not. Yeah, so that was my first project, and it didn't make a ton of money. We ran into some issues with it was one of the wettest winters and some challenges with one of the tenants, but it was profitable. I got that done, and then did a CVS and Starbucks and Merced with my same partners, and that's kind of what launched it.
So do you build and then sell?
So we still do. So we merchant build a lot of what we do. I had to start because I didn't have capital. So that was how I generated capital. And we still do that now, but we also now are in a position where we can kind of hold on to some assets. So the project that we built in Elk Grove, which is a WellBe Health and a Fresenius dialysis. We have a partner out of Canada they're fantastic. And so the plan is to keep that long term, kind of forever, so my kids will hopefully benefit from that someday. And then we bought our office building, and we've got, a little net lease building up in Redding, and we've got a little 30,000 square foot kind of industrial complex just south of Sacramento. And we have a couple of those little hangars that we built that we talked about earlier that we still own, and a little mixed use building down the street from us. And so we've just kind of if we build an asset, we sell it, take some chips off the table, go buy something that we can add some value to that would be, fit kind of what I think would be a good long-term hold. And so we've just been kind of growing very methodically and slowly, and trying not to take too much risk.
So are you doing 1031 exchanges from leaping from one to the next?
No, we've just been paying the taxes.
Yeah.
Because it kind of depends on the structure. Some of these we're using, especially if we're merchant building and we know that we're going to get in and get out. We'll use I guess you call it more of a hard money, where we can get higher leverage at a higher rate, but we bake that into the deal, and then we know that we're going to exit, and we've got a decent spread, so we can preserve our capital, and then we'll just sell and then buy something else, and we've done a little bit of cost segregation on some things that I know that I just plan on keeping forever, um, and so yeah, it's kind of situational.
Well, getting into the hangar business, the airport market, that's an interesting transition that I've not heard of previously. So how
Yeah.
did that happen?
Yeah, I was building a Dollar General, and the GC had met this couple that had experience in that industry. They'd actually, uh, her husband, Rich, kind of ran the air medical transport industry for a university. And they were trying to put together this project in Fresno, but they didn't have the development experience.
Mm,
Um, and so he put me in contact with them. We hit it off, and I said, "Well, let's just go figure it out." And I don't know anything about building on airport property or getting FAA approvals, but they knew that part of it. And so I kind of raised the capital because it had to be all equity because it's kind of a unique structure
mm.
on ground lease property. And they're fairly small projects, but did it for kind of the experience and doing something different. But essentially, it's basically a Dollar General with a large front door. Essentially, it's a metal building, with a really large, Swisher front door, which is the hangar door. So it wasn't like something unique per se.
Right,
Um,
right. Well, you
and
have to get FAA approval for these?
yeah, because it's going on airport property.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah,
So anything on airport property has to have
there's some
FAA.
forms you got to fill out and get
Oh,
kind of some approvals, and um,
that sounds a
then
little
we've
wild.
done. Yeah, we did a fee development project in Augusta, Georgia, with that same uh, partner, and that was a little bit more complex because it was a bigger hangar with a component of that building that had office and some sleeping quarters and some conference rooms and things like that. But I mean, it was kind of a retail building without it was just a shell, and then
Yeah,
you build
right,
out,
right.
it's a metal building, like you know,
Yeah.
a Butler
Lux
style
builder
type
or whatever.
building.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
That's
so
fantastic, actually. Oh, that's a whole area I never even thought about. But anyway, I need to scoot here to my next interview. Let's see. Hopefully, the next person is not going to show up here right away. But anyway, this was great information. Where can people get a hold of you, Greg?
yeah, they can reach us on our website, which is www.capitalrivers, capitalrivers.com. They can look up Capital Rivers or myself, Greg Aguirre, up on LinkedIn. They can email me at greg@capitalrivers.com, and it's capitalrivers.com. And yeah, I would love to connect with anybody. I've built the business through meeting new people and relationships, and you never know where things lead. And I like creative deals. And uh,
Who's sort of your favorite type or type of client you like to work with?
yeah, so become a little bit more picky as we've grown, but I like to work with clients where we can collaborate and solve challenges together. So WellBe Health is a great example of that. They've got kind of a unique structure in terms of being private equity backed and an expensive build. And we put together kind of this unique business structure with an open book build to suit and some other components in it. So my favorite client is one that's we can both benefit from each other and share value, and I can, leverage my expertise and knowledge and the expertise and knowledge of our team, because we have a really great team of folks here, including in-house counsel, a really smart accountant and property management, and use all those to achieve, an objective. So, good people, collaborative.
While we still have a little bit of time here, tell us a little bit about your economic development group.
Yeah, so that was a guy named Matt Tate, who's been kind of in the economic development realm for a long time, and him and I connected a while back because he was doing kind of more traditional, retail recruitment, outreach, and him and I had a conversation. I said, "Well, I don't understand what you do. Like, how is that gonna actually achieve results by, just calling somebody, I don't know, some retailer and saying, hey, you should be in this city." And so I really kind of challenged that philosophy and that view. And then we talked about how there's this disconnect between, the conversations being had by developers in cities, and said, hey, I think there's a new way to do this, a different way of accomplishing, these objectives, and really kind of opening up the lines of communication. And so he's growing this division for us and doing a great job, and it's really resonating. And we have kind of a just tell it like it is approach, working with these cities, that you got to have something unique to offer. You got to understand what the motivations and drive is, for the retailer or the developer. They've got to make money. You've got to have something to offer, and you've got to know what that is. It can't be, we're quick with, our permitting timelines. Like, what does that really mean? What is that? Is it 30 days, 60 days? Do you actually have sites available, that economically pencil? Do you understand the needs of that, that business or that retailer? And then how are you helping them actually, make money and be successful? Otherwise, you're wasting time and energy. And so kind of a different approach to economic development. And so that's really been growing, and it feeds really well with our brokerage division, where we do a lot of tenant rep, landlord rep, leasing, industrial, retail, some multifamily, and then property and asset management. They all kind of work together. So
that's interesting. So you do get some feed off from the economic development group to
absolutely
work on sites.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
A little challenging because we're trying to manage these different divisions, and they all have different structures. But having those vertical integrations has really proven to be beneficial, not only just for because they're different cash flow cycles. Developments, you spend a lot and you hope you make a lot.
Right.
And then brokerage is kind of like, middle, it ebbs and flows. And then property management's kind of steady Eddie.
Yeah.
But lower kind of margins. And so they kind of balance each other out, and it creates a lot of internal synergy. And so that's been really beneficial as we've been growing the company. And, we're now.
So you do some third-party property management?
All third-party property management, except for,
okay.
Managing the assets that we own as well.
Yeah.
So we're really looking to grow that side of the business. We're also looking to grow kind of on the fee development side, because we've, found, there's some folks that they have a really high basis in their property, but we know that there's a user that wants to be there, or maybe they don't know how to accomplish or navigate the complexities of, getting through entitlements and, vetting out GCs and putting budgets together. Development's become a fairly complex business over the years. And so we're looking at kind of using our knowledge and expertise and team to help, through more fee development as well, in addition to our own, projects. So yeah, a lot of growth that's planned for the future. We're just really trying to set the foundation and do it the right way.
Fantastic. All right. Well, let's keep in touch. I look forward to seeing what your next project is.
Yeah, definitely. Look forward to it.
We'll touch base again, maybe in the spring or next summer, and see what's happening.
I love that. Sounds good.
All right. Take care and happy holidays. We'll talk to you soon.
You too. Sounds good.
Take care.
All right, bye.
Bye.
That's a wrap on today's journey through the SF commercial real estate scene. Ready to share your story? Visit sfcommercialconversations.com/guest. Your insights could lead the next conversation.